Hello Year 4, it's Miss Lewis here with Wednesday's maths lesson. Let's get that pencil and paper and the 5-minute timer and start with Give Me 5. Okay, brilliant. So we start with a column addition, or you could have added on 1 to 499 to get 500. Then we're just adding on 500 to 200, which gives us 700, 711, but then we need to take away that extra 1 that we added, so we get 710. This one we can use a column subtraction, 561 take away 322, and we get 239. Then we have 45 divided by 5. Okay, so we can count up in 5s until we get to 45 and see what we get. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. I'm holding up 9 fingers. So our answer is 9. Next one, 120 divided by 10. Okay, how many 10s can fit into 120? I know that something times 10 is 120, and I know that that something is 12. And the last one then, 46 times 4, we need to do a short column multiplication for this. 46 times by 4. Okay, 4 times 6 is 24. I'm going to write my 2 down here and my 4 in the ones column in the answer box. 4 times 4 is 16, but I will need to remember to add on this 2, and 16 add 2 is 18, so I get 184. Well done if you got any of those right. Let's have a look at what we are doing today. We went through this question yesterday. What does the term equivalent mean? See if you can remember. Yep, it means the same as or equal to. Can you write down or just think of all the equivalent fractions that you know? So yesterday we looked at 1/2 and 2/4 and we knew that they were the same. Are there any more that you can remember? Brilliant, well done. Our in focus problem today then. We are going to be finding equivalent fractions in today's lesson. We've got a question here. Is it possible to write 1/2 as tenths? How about a quarter? Let's have a little think about that. Can we use our 2 times table or 10 times table to help us? Let's write it down. So 1/2 is the same as a number of tenths. Okay? We don't know our numerator yet. 1/2 is the same as a number of tenths. What have we done to this 2 to get 10? What do we have to do to 2 to get to 10? We have to times it by 5. Okay? 2 times 5 is 10. So now we have to do the same to the numerator, to the top number. Okay? Which means you have to do 1 times 5, which is 5. Okay, what's happened to change our denominator, the bottom number? We had to times it by 5. What if we did the same to the numerator? Times it by 5. We get 5. So yes, it is possible to write 1/2 as tenths. It's 5 tenths. Let's see if they did it the same way. So yep, so we know we wanted to write it in tenths, so we can put tenths on the bottom. We've got a picture here split into halves, and here it is split into tenths. So we know the same section, 5 tenths. We know that we've multiplied the denominator by 5, so we have to multiply the numerator, the top number, by 5. Okay, 1/2 is equal to 5 tenths. What about a quarter then? Let's have a look at this one. Is there a way we can times 4 by something to get 10? Oh no, 10's not in our 4 times table. Not if we're using whole numbers. So that might not work. You can check that on your fraction wall. How about hundredths? Could we write 4 in hundredths? You might not know, but 100 is in the 4 times table. And we have to times 4 by 25 to get 100. So if we times the bottom number by 25, we need to times the top number by 25. And I know that 1 times 25 is 25. Okay? So that's what we did to the denominator to make it 100. We times it by 25. We did the same with the numerator, and we ended up with 25 hundredths. Let's see if that works on our fraction wall. Okay, this has been split into quarters, and we've got 1 quarter highlighted. This has been split into 25 parts. It's the same, 25 hundredths. 1 quarter is equal to 25 hundredths. 1 quarter and 25 hundredths are equivalent fractions. So wherever we times or divide the bottom by, we need to times or divide the top by. Same the other way round. Okay, that's our golden rule. Whatever we times the top by, we need to times the bottom by. Whatever we times the bottom by, we need to times the top by. Let's have a look at our guided practice then. So if you want to work through this by yourself, you can, and check back for the answers. If you would like to work through it with me, let's go. So 1/5 is the same as a number of tens. Okay. Well, what did we do to the 5 to get 10? Yeah, that's right, we times it by 2. Okay, times it by 2. So now we just need to times these top numbers by 2. Okay, so 1 times 2, that's 2. So 1/5 equals 2 tenths. Now we've done the same thing, we're still going to 10, so we still need to times by 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. 2/5 is equivalent to 4 tenths. We're still doing 5 to 10, so we still need to times by 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so we've got this helpful drawing here. So whatever we times the top by, whatever we times the bottom by, we need to times the top by. Here we're dealing in hundredths. Okay, what do we have to times 20 by to get to 100? If you're not sure about this, use your finger to cover up one of the zeros on each. So what do we have to times 2 to get to 10? 5. There we go, so it's the same with 20 and 100. 20 times 5 is 100. Okay, so if we're timesing the bottom numbers by 5, we need to times the top numbers by 5. Okay, we started with 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, so 1/20th is the same as 5 hundredths. 3 times 5 is 15. So 3/20ths is the same as 15 hundredths. 19 times 5. This isn't our 5 times table. Let's do a very quick column multiplication there. 19 times 5. 9 times 5 is 45. 5 times 1 is 5. Add on 4 is 9. So we get 95 hundredths. There we go. So can we see whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. And there it is. Our golden rule, equivalent fractions using multiplication, multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. So we're always timesing or dividing by the same number. Okay, so we can see even on this one, we've gone from 12 to 120, which is timesing by 10. So we need to times the 6 by 10 to get 60. Remembering that rule then, it's time for our worksheet. So You are just doing the same as we did in our guided practice. So what did you times 4 by to get 60? Use that same number to times the numerator. Okay? And the same on the second page. What did you times 9 by to get 99? Have a go on that by yourself. Pause the video now and come back for the answers. Okay, super work then. Here are our answers. So we had to times 4 by 15 to get to 60. So all of these ones were timesing by 15. So 1 times 15, 15. 2 times 15 is 30. 3 times 15 is 45. Don't worry if you needed to use some multiplication in a column for that, that's fine. Here we were timesing by 20. Okay, we went from 10 to 200, so we needed to times by 20. So all of these numbers have been times by 20. Next one, we were going from 8 to 40. Okay, which means we were timesing by 5. Okay, so we did 1 times 5, which is 5, 3 times 5, 5 times 5, and 7 times 5. So we know that 7/8 is the same as or equivalent to 35/40. That's hard to say. And the last one here, we were going from 9 to 99. So we need to times 9 by 11 to get to 99. So we did 1 times 11, got 11, 4 times 11, 7 times 11, 8 times 11. So we know that 8/9 is the same as 88/99, which again, it's quite funny to say. Okay, well done if you got any of those right. If you feel like you've been challenged enough in today's math lesson, you can end that now. If you want a challenge, here it is. Okay, so use this diagram to complete the equivalent fractions. You can complete these ones as well. Can work out if Tommy has done the right thing here. And we can use these digit cards to complete the equivalent fractions. Okay, pause now, come back for the answers. And here we go, here are our answers then. So remember, you have to do the same thing to the top of the bottom, but only with multiplying. So Tommy is wrong here. Even though he's done the same thing, his fractions aren't equivalent. He's added to the numerator and denominator, so he's added 2 each time. When we find equivalent fractions, we need to either multiply or divide the numerator. Those are the operations we're working with. So even though he's done the same thing, he needs to be multiplying and dividing. And here are the few possible answers you can have for this question, but you might have had some more. Well done on today's lesson, and I'll see you for tomorrow's.